Okay, guys. So we went over a parallel slope, excuse me, yesterday. So today we're going to go over perpendicular slope. So number one, find the slope perpendicular to m equals 1/2. So it's pretty easy to find perpendicular slope. You just have to do the inverse reciprocal, which is a fancy way to say flip it over and change the sign. So if I want the perpendicular slope. This sign right here, guys, is notation for perpendicular. All I'm going to do is take this half, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to change the sign. So it was positive, so I'm going to make it negative. And then this is an okay answer, but a better answer is this. That's it. Okay? So perpendicular slope means the inverse reciprocal, which is just a fancy way to say flip it over and change the sign. Okay, so let's move on to example 2. Example 2, find the slope perpendicular to the line y equals 2x plus 1. Well, this is in y equals mx plus b form, so here is our y-intercept, and here is our slope. So slope is 2, so our perpendicular slope is, so it's a whole number, so I'm going to put it over 1. So perpendicular slope is going to be flip it over and change the sign. So that is your perpendicular slope. Okay? Last example, graph the line through 2, 1 that is perpendicular to the line with equation 2x minus 3. So just like in 2.3a, the very first step is graph that ordered pair. So let's go over to our graph. I'm going to draw my x and y axis. I'm going to label it so we know what we are counting by. Okay, so the point was 2, 1, so I'm going to go to the origin, I'm going to go over 2 and up 1. There's my point. Remember, your ordered pair is always x, y. And then we have to deal with this equation. So I don't necessarily need to graph this line, but perpendicular to this line tells me that I should be able to take the slope from this line and do like I did in examples 1 and 2. So you guys are used to seeing this as y equals mx plus b. So just like in 2.3a, we're going to go ahead and solve for y. So here we go. I have 2x minus 3y equals 3. So remember, when we solve for y, everything that's not y needs to go to the other side. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to undo this 2x. So I'm going to subtract 2x, and I'm going to subtract it from both sides. That cancels out. I'm going to bring everything down. So negative 3y equals 3 minus 2x. Okay? Now I still need to move this negative 3. So I'm going to divide by a negative 3. And remember, when I divide by a negative 3, everything over here has to be divided by a negative 3. So this and this need to be divided by a negative 3. So this goes away, and that leaves me with y equals negative 1. Does everybody see this right here? Plus 2/3 x. So the question is, what is the slope? A lot of you guys are going to tell me negative 1. Remember, slope is the thing next to the x. So this is my y-intercept. This is my slope. So slope for that equation is 2/3. So my perpendicular slope is, flip it over, change the sign. Okay, so now to graph, I'm going to use the slope that I just got, that negative 3/2. And from this point, I'm going to use that slope. So the negative 3 tells me that I'm going down, and the positive 2 tells me I'm going right. So from this point, I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go right 2, 1, 2, and I'm going to put a dot. Okay, and when I connect those, that gives me a line that is perpendicular to this equation, and it goes through that point. Okay, so your homework problems tonight, which are class problems, I hope you guys get this done in class. They're right here. Don't freak out when you look in your book. It's still 2.3. So this is going to look very, very familiar, but realize these questions are different numbers than you did on 2.3a. Okay, so 2.3 is due next class period, and I will see you guys when I get back.